Let Them Eat Cake is a series of paintings that begins with a girl in the innocence of youth, Alice in Wonderland, yet to face the choices of life, or the restrictions an extremist life might place on her. This latter is manifest in the second painting, Unseen and Unheard. Identity has been lost, and the cake, once a symbol of choice, now indicates her new role as a commodity to be devoured. Gone shows the skeletal death of spirit as the result of such a life. But the journey need not be entirely devoid of hope. In the face behind the mask, we see the individuality of the oppressed, crying to be free, her hidden hopes and desires as forbidden as the shoes she secretly wears. Then comes an audacious decision. In Virgin Refugee, the woman has shed her concealing burqa as she dons a wedding veil, a symbol of her potentiality. Behind her, bridges burn. It is a past to be destroyed. She points to two possible futures: a return to the conflicting frustrations of extremist oppression, or the new life of a woman re-enthroned, goddess of two worlds, the self-actualized individual, where women can have their cake and eat it too.
Hello, I'm Carmen Pasquel, and I'm a coordinator at the Triton Museum of Art in Santa Clara. We recently showed a series of paintings by Susan Kraft called Let Them Eat Cake. I'm here with Susan to explore one painting in particular because it had such a profound effect on our visitors. The painting is called The Face Behind the Mask. Welcome, Susan. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Carmen.
Yeah.
It's really great to be here with you to talk about this.
Yes, I'm pretty excited. I'd like to share with you again what a great response we had from our visitors. Once they looked and they observed and they understood your 7 paintings. It was, as a docent, I was able to talk and interact with a wide variety of visitors, especially the women, as you know it. So, yeah, it was very interesting, the response. That's why I felt that it was so important for you as an artist to say that, you know, you were out there sharing your message and having other visitors also realize that they were looking at their reflection in your paintings.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for that. I think you helped some of us really open up our eyes.
Well, you're welcome, and I have to, you know, it's strange. There's the idea that artists, we have these ideas and we create them ourselves. It's really it's this muse that comes through us, and we wait for creativity ideas to come through. We wait for them. There's nothing you can do to make it happen, right? And this series actually just like showed up, and I was busy on another type of artwork style that I was thought was where I should be. You know, people like to buy them. It's for their homes, and it was in galleries, and then all of a sudden, Alice didn't show up first. Alice in Wonderland did not show up first. It was one of the pieces in the middle. Actually, it was the next one, the woman who's in a burqa sitting down with a cake in her lap, and that showed up first, and it was such a strong message. It was almost comical, and I just didn't paint it right away. I just thought it was just a weird image I had in my head, and I thought it would just go away. And finally I realized if I don't paint it, it'll be stuck in my head. So I painted it, thinking now I'll be relieved of this. And what happened next was a flood of other images came in, including this entire series that the Triton Museum of Art showed for the Splintered Humanity exhibit. And there's several more that are still in my studio that are in various stages of development. But it was 5 years of working with these images, and I wasn't really in the public anymore because these weren't things that people wanted to put in their homes, and it was quite confusing to me. I didn't know what to do. So to say thank you and you're welcome is kind of a odd thing to hear and to be part of, because it was something that just overtook my creative life and ran away with me. And that's actually why these pieces are in the Triton. I came to Preston with a couple of them to ask him, what do I do? Here's some other work I do, and then here's these few pieces. And he was just so happy to see them. And he said, no, the kind that just come to you are the most important ones.
Well, that message was very important because, well, you know, not only women, I think, were affected, but also men, you know,
yes.
Because we all tend to, in different phases, we could see in those paintings different phases where we've been, where we are, and where we want to be.
Men can certainly see themselves. It's symbolic. Right. I'm a woman, so I paint myself. People have asked me, well, you're using burqas and you're using white women. Well, I'm a woman. I'm a white woman. I have to paint images of what's inside me. And we've all had burqas that we put on ourselves or thrown on us by our parents or our spouses or our employers or our teachers, and we try to please them, and then we live a life that's not really a true life. So it happens to everybody.
Yeah, I'd like for you to share that message with the public there.
With our audience?
Yes,
okay.
I'd love
You want to see them? Okay, let's bring one up. She is a small child. She's actually a friend of mine's little girl. She's 3 years old, and she was just a darling girl. And I gave her a cupcake with a cherry on it. And I said, look at this cake, cupcake. And my original intention was to have her smash the big cake in front of her, right? And instead, she was just wanted to eat the cupcake, and so I was very happy for her not to be allured by the cake. But the idea for in the reality of the painting is that I have this, in the painting, the little girl is torn, actually, between the allure of the adult cake with the flower on it, which is her flowering womanhood, and she toss away her innocence and her potentiality of the cherry on top of this cupcake, which is her. And there's a little tag at the bottom of the cake that says, "Eat me." And that's it's called Alice in Wonderland, all put together quite nicely. So I've had adverse reactions to this. I've had some people be very, very angry about this. It says "eat me," and some people are just, no matter what context the words "eat me" are in, they're furious. How dare you? There's a child there. It's a fairy tale.
Well, but why do you think people are so upset with the "eat me"? And
well,
because we have to, sometimes as we're growing up, we have to absorb other people's messages, whether we want to or not.
Yes, so you eat their message, and you have to eat it sometimes. And I think it's because it was the painting that was next to it, which is the woman or a person. You don't know if it's a woman or a man. We presume it's a woman because it's culturally that's what it is, but it's a human being, and you don't know what age. Could be 10, could be 90, sitting down cross-legged with a cake in her lap, and the cake says "eat me" on it, which is, in American culture, it's a joke to write "eat me" on the cake, right? I mean, there's a John Belushi movie, everyone knows this giant cake riding through town says "eat me." I mean, it's just a joke. But it's very serious in this painting. And people, put those two pieces together, and the people that got angry at the words "eat me," they see it in one word, one term only. They see it as vulgar, instead of the symbolic form of that the cake is in cupcake is symbolic of life's choices. And
well, I think too the position of the cake may have intimidated some people who are used to making you eat the cake and the message.
And it's also right in her lap.
Right.
So some people sexualize everything. And here, how can you sexualize somebody you can't even see? You have no idea what's under there.
I think sometimes people with the burqa to me is just a symbol. Is just a symbol, because even though you're not wearing a burqa, people will talk about you whether you're wearing a burqa or not.
She took off her burqa, and that's the one I was talking about earlier. This painting is in the studio here, and she is angrily looking down at what used to be her burqa. And I unintentionally, but later realized that I'm using the Virgin Mary's colors, except
Yes,
inverse.
the blue. Mm-hmm.
Painting.
Well, you know, I think too this is a turning point, and sometimes at turning points we look for a higher essence to help us guide. And this here is helping us decide. We're looking to decide.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. So anyway, this is one of those pieces, like either you're stuck there forever or moving on. So I think everyone hopes that she moves on and throws that piece of material into the fires and goes through the window.
Sometimes it's hard for us to throw that piece of cloth into the fire and move on.
It is. It is. Right.